Okay, so good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC Live, Season 2, Episode 33. It's the August Raid Roundup and the FM update. First and foremost, I did promise you something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. We have the something old. Welcome back, Liam, 99.
Hello, everybody, and good to be back. I don't know about the something old TSM.
You said to me you were old a minute ago.
You're older than me. you could be my dad.
You were just whining about being old. Come on.
Feeling old. But no, it is good to be back. The summer work madness is kind of over now, and hopefully that's me back permanently. So look forward to catching up with you and catching up to speed with the game.
Yeah, it's good. And talking of the game, we need to get straight into it. I'll say, sorry, evening, George, and evening, Robin. How are you guys? All right?
Very well.
Doing well, thanks.
Super duper. I know Brian's going to pop in later on, that sort of stuff, and Ren is at work as ever, and hopefully he'll drop in towards the end because he always sort of like pops in the last few bits if he can. But we'll get straight onto the slides because there is a few. No, there's a lot. But I'll do my utmost as I always do, and I will smash through them as best as possible. Okie dokie. Right, so there we go. Title screen. We all know about that. And contents. So as you can see, quite a few, 24, 25 slides in total, basically, taking the title screen as well. Okie dokie. So first off, we're going to start, obviously, as we always do, then week after raids finish, or the first show after raids finish, basically, and we talk a little bit about, what we thought the raid, how it went, that sort of stuff, from our perspective, and then that gives you a chance on Saturday to provide your feedback as well. So just thought I'd have a quick plug, if you wouldn't mind. Andrew has obviously done, and there's our page there then, our web page, and then he's put the Lost Continent questionnaire on our front screen, right in the center there, and you click the button, and there it is, okay? So if you could just fill out those few questions there, he's going to keep it up basically for a week, and then we'll do something about that next week on the show, okay? So that would be super if we could do that. Look at that change screening, that's not bad, is it? Right, anyway, so that's the website link, but I should imagine everybody probably can just go into Google, the Forsaken Council, and it comes up anyway. And just tick the box. So the next 8 are yours, Robin, I believe, to take the lead on.
Thank you. Okay, so just looking back at the last raid that we did, as Mark said, we kind of go through this after every raid and take a look at what worked, what didn't work, and what we can look forward to for the future. With respects to the targets and the fleets, they were still fun to drive if you had the right fleet combinations. The thing I liked about them was you are not locked into one specific path. If you were feeling frisky, you could go clockwise versus anti-clockwise. You could attack them from different areas. You could utilize crews and stack your targets in groups. So if you were running one of the legendary crews, you could go out and hit all of the 103s, stack those, and then you could go back and hit the 100s. And then you could also tag team with different fleets. I saw people who would take a single Skyfire in or a couple of Skyfires in, pull the fleets, and then go in with the Phoenixes to do the mop-ups. Also saw on some of the lower targets people doing similar things where they were taking one fleet in to take care of the ships and then cleaning up. In one case, some guy was running around with some monoliths and were killing some targets. So that was all pretty good.
Actually, did you cover this in the later one where we didn't have to take like a bajillion things of damage for little tiny errors? That was my favorite part.
Yep, no, that's a good point. I did not actually put that in. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I had to make a little set of slides. Wasn't allowed to do a big long one. Okay, moving on to the next one. The S target. This is kind of a bugaboo of mine and a lot of other people. Addition of the new target basically increased the time.
Hang on, what was that? A what? A bugaboo?
A bugaboo.
Bugaboo.
A bugaboo.
Carry on.
It's a family show. I'm behaving myself. And we had to put in more time to get the same amount of points, just as a comparison. And I was pretty conservative here. An S target for 100, you could do it, well within 7 minutes. You got about 5 million points. In the August raid, with the addition of the second target, it was about 7.5 million points for about 14 minutes. So it took longer. We got less points. And there was also multiple times where you weren't actually getting the full 7.5 million. I did hear some rumbles where somebody was talking about something to do with the yellow stuff on the water. But basically, it took a lot longer to get the same amount of points, and with the point increase, that was a negative with respects to the raid. In fact, that's kind of what drove the addition of the new question in that questionnaire. We're trying to find out just how long people actually committed to the raid, so that we can kind of take a look at it. It's all, if you've got somebody that's prepping for everybody in their alliance, then they're going to be stuck to their chair for 4 days. But it would be interesting to see what the average player was spending time-wise with respects to the targets.
Yep.
And then the other positive piece on, whoops, a little too quick there. The other positive piece was the ability to use subs to kill Rudolph. There were a lot of people that really struggled with that. Props to whoever it was that first discovered it, where you could go in there with subs and take care of the large target that was in the 103. I am hopeful that Kix does not change that next time round, because posting that information and sharing that really opened up the door for a lot of people that were grinding 100s to be able to actually go in there and finish up the targets for the bonuses.
That'll be stopped. 100% that was stopped.
We can ask for them not to.
Yeah. I would prefer that they don't, but I also wouldn't be shocked if they did adjust that.
The numbers were down and the time was up. I mean, 2 raids ago, I was getting 100 million within the hour, and I was getting 35 million this time. I mean, that's a lot more seat time, and I was not a happy chappy.
Yeah, the time factor for me was, I also didn't like the fact, just the targets are so big. Do you know what I mean? To do it properly and to take as little damage as possible, you have to take your time. And I just think anything over 10 minutes is too much.
I refused to use Grease Monkey Cruise and that sort of stuff, because you go and do 2 targets and it was wasted, it was gone, it was just pointless.
It wouldn't be that bad if it wasn't, if you didn't have the proverbial mountain to climb for points. I think it's you have to keep it in context. Like if we only needed, 50, 60, or even just 100 million points, it wouldn't have been that bad. But, when you want to get a bunch of stuff, that's when you look up and you're like, oh, that's a pretty big mountain. Huh.
Yep. Are you telling me, George, that you missed the days of just getting a weapon, a special, and a hull per raid?
Yeah. Yeah, I barely played this last raid. I only got like 120 million. I didn't want to put in that much time.
I didn't get that.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, moving on to the prizes. Lots of tokens as per usual. We didn't get the 2-day tokens for this run, so sad face for that. Would have been nice to see those come in, especially with the new Rage hulls, but they did put the frontline countermeasures and Phalanx 4 in there, and they were at a reasonable cost for the lower levels. I know some people that picked those up, and they were very happy to do so. And then they also reduced the price for the Gutfill flagship, so they were both offered, and they were both not locked.
They also had a fantastic price on the Monolith tokens. It was like $1 million a pop, I think. That was great.
Yeah, really helped some little guys with the FM. I actually prepped a bunch of sets just for people to go ahead and finish those up. Looking at some of the bugs, we had issues with the spawn rates. There weren't any on the lower targets. Did not hear anything from anybody about 80s, 60s, or 40s. Those seem to be easy to find. People weren't having issues with those. There was an issue with the higher end targets. We had situations where the whole sector was nothing but 103s, and there were no hundreds in the sector, either on the locator or people looking on the map. So we did bring that up to Kick, so hopefully that will be addressed for the next raid. It was not a case of where people were just hitting 100s, and so there were only 103s left. I actually went through in one area 3 waves where it was just spawn after spawn after spawn of 103s. So hopefully they can address that before the next one.
Yep, absolutely agree. Cool.
Yep. And then the big one that everybody had issues with, the redemption and the locked store. I think it would not be so frosty if they had communicated it up front. The non-communication of it was an issue. And here's an example, and this is a real life example. I had a guy in my alliance who only wanted to get a charge armor. He started grinding away. He got enough points for the charged armor, and then he could not redeem it. Because up until, I think it was, I can't remember how long it was into the raid before Kix even confirmed that it was going to be locked and you were going to have to claim that. So the non-communication is a huge issue. especially when you're talking about a raid and you're talking about people that are spending time and money to go ahead and get these points. The other piece of this is that, yes, in the past, we've had the situation where you have had to go ahead and claim something from each one of the tiers, but the last couple have not been that way. So, you know, if you're going to change it, announce it. And
consistency is the word, isn't it?
Yes, consistency. And if you are changing something, you know, it's one thing to say, oops, we goofed, sorry, we'll fix it next time around. But, you know, the response that we got was that, yes, it was intentional and that this was the way that it was going to be. And so hurt a lot of players. Maybe we can move on to the next one, Mark. And why is this an issue? You know, Kix brought out the charged armor. They stated many times that it was a luxury item. It was not supposed to be something that you were going to be reliant on for the FM or for the raids. It was supposed to make your life a little bit easier, but it was never supposed to be a necessity. And I think we are all pretty much in agreement that in order to do well, not have to spend a whole bunch of money and not have to grind a whole bunch of lower targets, that you kind of needed the charged armor. And you also need it for the FM fleet for your tank as well, if you don't want to spend hours and hours and hours waiting on repairs to do that. So, you know, it's not a luxury item. It's a necessity. Locking the charged armor behind those top three locked out a lot of players. There were players that were willing to grind out for some charged armor, but, you know, you start doing that and then you find out that, oh, can't get that unless I go ahead and get 40 million points. And for some people, that's insurmountable. There are people that are happy enough just to get 10 million points and get a piece of charged armor, or someone was missing a couple of pieces. And so I really think that needs to be rethought.
I think it's actually a little bit worse with the charged armor in this raid set, because last raid set in the FM, you can not have the charged armor and still have, like, I mean, I ran the 113s with no charged armor, but this raid, I don't know that you can actually do these targets without charged armor, at least not the top end ones.
Not the 103.
So, it's much worse.
But yeah, it
would be touchy. Yeah, if you mess up in the 103 without charged armor and you get into Rudolph's little glowy whatever, you're boned.
I mean, the little guys would like some charge armor, because ultimately, then obviously you don't pay for the fix of the charge. So, you know, the guys that have got it now are actually saving coin. Yeah, great, because they went out and got it and that stuff. But give them a chance to get it as well, and then to have some of that benefit. You know,
I mean, we already put a big price tag on it, so it's already takes effort to get it, and that's even if you're a big player, because they're limited. And if you want 10 of them, and when they were 10 million the first pop, that was, or 5 of them, that was 50 million points just for 5 pieces.
That's enough price. Yeah, you should make it hard, expensive, and hard to get. It shouldn't be both.
Yeah, either hard to get and cheap, or or expensive and easy to get. You know, if you want to put the time and the.
I'll go for easy any day.
I still think the whole concept of the charge armor is just counterproductive for the community. I've not been a fan of it since it come out, but maybe you guys have adjusted to the idea of it more than I have. But
no, I still think that for the price that you're paying, even at 6 million a pop, it shouldn't be a 2-day build. I mean, there's just I don't feel it's fully balanced yet, but they are for this raid set an absolute necessity.
The word luxury. It should just be it's not necessity, but if you don't have it, you're a fool.
Yeah.
And do you think that, you know, next raid we're going to see another charged armor, which is going to be a necessity for the next raid cycle? You know,
I would not. I would actually kind of expect it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because we've seen the charged armor for this raid cycle in the last raid cycle, didn't we?
Yeah,
what's the damage types? What are the damage types?
Explosive and concussive. Yeah. Is it concussive and explosive next, isn't it?
No, we got explosive. That's the X armor. We got penetrative, we've got explosive, and we've got
right. But for the next raid, what's the damage type?
It's explosive and concussive, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're going to need a concussive one, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah, or a concussive specialty ship. Anyway, okay, let's move on.
Yep. Looking forward to the next raid, and I'm happy to actually say that this slide is slightly incorrect. We had talked about the ability.
I was going to change it, but I thought, no, let's leave it, and then we'll talk about why.
Originally, you know, we had looked at all the prizes that were out there in the tech store, and you know, how do we get people closer to the tokens in the quickest way possible. So the thought was, let's go ahead and add or ask Kix to add a whole lot of stuff to the FM that would help clear out some of those tiers. So, I know we're going to talk.
We'll pause on that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Next bit.
And then, of course, we've got the upcoming bounty feature, which we have all been hearing about. And so, let's think about some of the base tech items that we have not had in the past. I think there was, the M armor, penetration armor. There's a couple of, and I've found 2 that I don't have. So there are a couple of the armors that are out there that I think that could really help folks that if they're looking to participate in bounty. So that was kind of a wrap up. There was some good, there was some bad. There were people in my sector that had a blast. There were a couple that struggled a little bit, but after some folks shared some of the videos, and just on that point, thank you all for your time that you put in to give us the videos and to share that information. It's incredible how much of a difference that one video can make. Credit to Nobby for blocking Rudolph around the island.
That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, game changer for a lot of people. And you don't have to be a maestro when it comes to making videos. When I make videos, they're all crap, but you know what? As long as someone can watch it and learn something from it, that's the point. And so don't be afraid to share those. And just a big thank you for helping everybody out with that.
Yeah, well, that was a great one. I mean, Nobby showed me how to do that basically, and I said, right, I'll go make a video quick and I'll put it up. And then Art came back with that other one about putting the sub in there, which you can just sit there because it was a ghost caller and he could just do what you wanted. And he used Hellrace and it was even faster because he had obviously didn't have obviously the twister tops, which I've left on my ghost caller since the last raid last year. So but he had obviously different tops and he killed it much faster. But just little things like that. And if they up the thermal because of giving people the opportunity to do that for lower levels, then they're shizers as far as I'm concerned. So they shouldn't be doing that. But inevitably they probably will. But we'll see. Okay, next. And the last. You didn't know about this slide, Robin, did you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, surprise slide. Okay. The next raid we've got coming up, we're not sure of the name of the raid yet. But
they haven't made the name yet. That's the point, yeah.
Yep, but we have got some confirmed dates here. So the Tech Store raid will start on Thursday, the 14th of September and run through the 20th of September. So that gives us 4 weeks, 2 weeks of full prizes, and then I think 2 weeks of tokens, if I've got that right. And we know that the next one is Skirmish, correct?
Afterwards it should be Skirmish,
Yep. So after this raid and even now, actually start thinking about what's coming up. Obviously, we should start seeing some prizes either in the raid or in a TLC not too soon, not very far behind that. So this will be the last raid of this cycle, and then we'll be turning over to the new one.
Super duper. So if you can't remember, then obviously that's the Hellwraiths and obviously your Tide Seekers and that sort of stuff. So we're back around to that cycle again. Doesn't mean, and I know George has got a little bit, well, not a little bit on this, but his thoughts as well. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a sub this time. It may not be a sub raid, but it's that type of damage.
I hope it's not a sub raid. I mean, I'm very well known for being an excellent sub driver, but.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I like sub raids. I like the challenge.
I do. I love the Hellrace one, but that was just me because I like driving subs, but
Yeah.
But anyway, right, okay, let's move on. So what have we got then? So here we go, August Forsaken missions, and this leads on from what obviously Robin was saying before then, basically. So they have, this is a mixed bag, okay, and as far as I'm concerned, and we can spend a couple of seconds on this one. So we did say that, some people that were coming in or re-coming into the game again from previous sort of pauses, for whatever reason, were just basically locked out for months and months and months, and nearly up to a year, where they couldn't get to the front end of the prize pool to start getting the tokens. So yeah, fantastic. They've reduced, obviously, there's a number of reductions, obviously from 33 down to 24 for prize pool 4, and obviously 50 down to 33, which is a massive reduction. The only thing, well, I'll quickly mention, obviously, because the cock up on, obviously, the churn of update today, the FM has been extended, by the way, so just hold that thought. But my concern is the things that they've taken out, so it always comes, there's a bit of a yin and yang as ever. So bringing the numbers down, which is fantastic and that sort of stuff, and keeping the most important stuffs in there. But there are one or two things when someone's been going towards something that is now not going to be there. So unless it's going to be available in the, the textile raid next month, then when the hell are they going to be able to get it, the item that they're missing?
We have a list of what was taken out. Was it like key tech to the game right now?
Yeah, we sort of started a list, but obviously that is now on our Forsaken website, and basically Andrew's got the whole flow chart of all the way down through all the items. So he was refreshing that one tomorrow, basically. So that'll be up and running again. So because we're the only place where you can go and get the Forsaken prize lists offline. You know, so you haven't actually got to go and log on the game and that sort of stuff. You know, and when Forsaken Missions disappeared, how do you know what's next and what's coming? So Andrew does a flow chart basically of the way it sort of goes through. So he's going to refresh that tomorrow with the reductions, and that'll be done and dusted. So
yeah, there were some. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say there were some anchors that were thrown away. Things like the Tephra thrower, and there's a couple of other ones that were not so hot that were in there. In doing the comparison, there were a couple of things that I kind of raised my eyebrows at, but there were a lot of older things that are either specialized or kind of like a one-time use and only good if you're using this particular turret, you know, that kind of stuff. And from a numbers perspective, I actually sat down there and figured this out. It turns out that based on 3 weeks, because 1 week is always the raid, this knocks off over 5 months for somebody that is just starting the FM. And so as much as I know that people are going to be frustrated because some things were being removed, but we're talking 5 months here.
Yes, huge. Yeah.
Basically, we wiped off to somebody that was halfway through the prize list is within the next week or so now going to be able to get tokens for the first time.
I mean, I think the majority would be happy, but.
Well, I mean, we've harped on this. I mean, I know I've harped on this forever, and it's a very big step in the right direction. I really had hoped that they were going to push everything down into the lower tiers, though, so that way the tech was still available. Because, you know, as we found out, tech depth is really important in this game sometimes. You know, like if you didn't have the tridents, surprise, you know, I don't like the tech being taken out, but I love the fact that they've reduced the prize pools. I mean, that's phenomenal. And before anyone starts complaining, because I'm already seeing people in chat, look, every time after the raid, we're going to get new prizes in the FM.
Always.
I don't know why everyone keeps complaining about it every time. I don't know why everyone has an issue with it. It's the way that it's set up. It's either that's going to happen or they're going to take the tokens away. So it's your choice.
You're not just going to get a whole month of tokens and nothing. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they're going to randomly throw prizes in like they did in the past where you never knew when you were going to get something. And 1 month you'd get 1 new prize and the next month there'd be like 3 new prizes.
Yeah. I think it goes back to what Mark said, consistency. It's, you know, this is consistent. I can live with it. We know what's going to happen. So stop
the other way, I mean, and it's difficult for people. The way I would have liked to be able to fix the FM was up to the latest prize release and that sort of stuff. I would like to have said, right, actually, there's a gated area, so you can get into prize pool 5. That's fantastic, and you get up to obviously everything but the last 4 tokens, options. And after you get to that gate, there's like a dividing line, like the lock store. And actually, you can cycle through and keep resetting your FM if you wanted to, 4 or 5 times a week to play catch up. If you're building that fleet.
Yep. Or even if they just upped it to 4 times a week, maybe not make it unlimited, so somebody could, get there today and then spend 3 days basically wiping out everything that's out there. But even if they doubled it, that would be great. Just baby
that's
step.
a good idea.
But only up as far as the latest release stuff. So you're still going to be able to get ahead any further than anybody else. But the point is, you can catch up. And if you want, because imagine if you couldn't do it, you couldn't do it for 3 or 4 weeks because you goofed up your fleet build or something like that. But you went, do you know what? I've got it now. I've just done this one. And there's been a couple of those sort of like eureka moments for a few people in the last couple of weeks. They went, yeah, my zealous is now working. I'm up for it. And then they look really depressed because they're like 5 or 6 weeks behind everybody else. But they can then just run through it 3 or 4 times in 1 week, which is their decision then. And then just catch up to whatever this month's outlay is, and then not be able to catch up any further. That could have been a way of doing it, but it doesn't suit everybody. I understand that,
Yeah,
So,
and if you think about
like
it,
that idea a lot.
it was I do too. It was each month you could get like 1 step closer to tokens, and so for somebody that was just starting, it literally was not 9 months. It was literally a year because every month we got 3 or 4 new prizes. So it's not just a matter of draw your line in the sand today, 9 months from now I'm going to get tokens. It was just this constant moving goalpost to where they couldn't get it. And so, as you said, people are frustrated because things get put in there, and there are people that may be missing stuff that is out of it that they wanted, but think of the people that are behind you. You may be caught up, you may be getting the tokens, but there are a lot of people that are still trying to get there. And so, huge props to Kix for doing this.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So here we go. This is the first. Whoops. That's the second. That's the first. Okay. And so here we go. This is the first update for this month. Then, and it's interesting. I was confused this one, to be honest. I mean, I get the fact that it's penetrative and it's corrosive and that sort of stuff, but it's draconian. Makes sense to anybody? Why it's draconian? Because I can't work it out.
Yeah, I see what
The
you
color scheme.
Apart from the colour scheme, yeah, I get that. But why draconian armor? Why? Because obviously, you know, I don't get why draconian.
mean. Is it
Well,
because
maybe our next. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I was gonna say the next hull might be draconian, but that's an assault. It's for
Yeah,
assault targets. So I don't know.
I don't get it. I don't get why there's draconian armor coming out, because we're in the Reaver section at the moment, and we've got the Reaver thing that we want, and it's nice to see another plate. You know, it's not locked to a ship type, which is great. It's not locked to conquerors or assaults, that sort of stuff. But you know, the new Legion ship is not going to need this and that sort of stuff. So I don't quite get why it's draconian. But hey,
Daniel just mentioned something in chat. He says that all of the other alloy armors are draconian, and maybe this is
that the only reason?
Well,
That's a
I was
throwback.
wondering if it was to do with the weight reduction in the shipyard. You know, like if it's.
I was wondering that as well, because obviously some things only get reduced depending on what level of R&D you've got as well. So some give you a certain bonuses and some don't. So yeah, and some things are in the retro lab and some aren't. So maybe, yeah, it may just be the weight reduction thing, and then that's obviously why it's tied in draconian. But yeah, and the alloy armors. I mean, no one really cares about the old rolls anymore, do they? So, but I suppose it has to in the programming side. That's maybe why. Maybe it's because of that, because alloy armors are written in draconian from days of old. So that's the way it's got to go.
See, I was looking at it earlier, and I was trying to weigh up like if I should refit it onto particular ships, and looking at the setup I had, and it's kind of like 6 a dozen of one and half a dozen the other. You know, it's like it's not really.
Well, output versus weight, time building. I don't really care about things like that, but output and then weight. What's the implication of putting this on? Is it going to improve my ship? Okay, what have I got to take off to be able to put it on? And if I don't have the firepower, or I don't have the speed, or you know, there's always a bit of a payoff, isn't there? So,
and there's probably players. Sorry, go on.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, wouldn't this be a viable option for people that could not get the charged armors?
Well, it's going to have to help, isn't it? Look at that. I mean, 45, of course it is, yeah. And then you can put this on generalist as well. So if you can't get that generalist one that's at the top end of tier 5, you can slam this on instead.
Yep.
Because it's going to do the exact same thing, isn't it? That was just 45.
What was the armor? What's the armor that we're running on? The corrosive armor that we're running on our Phoenixes at the moment. I forgot the name of it.
The CO, whatever it is, yeah.
I think
I was just going to say, what if there's some players that don't have that armor? You know, and this gives them an option to push in a little bit more corrosive resistance. If
without a doubt, yeah, without a doubt.
Too heavy on the penetrative side and not enough on the corrosive side. Now they've got an option to bring that other one up. You know.
Yeah, it's in the retro lab too. That might be why.
And if you've already R15 your other stuff, this will be straight to R15, shouldn't it? So
yeah.
In fact, yeah, that's what they're saying in chat as well. So yeah. So hey, let's not complain. I'll shut up. I'm looking too far into it. Let's. Okay. Pronounce that one, Liam.
Okay.
Welcome back.
I want to say Palistis, right?
Sounds like a disease.
but I'm going to say Palistes.
Sounds Polish to me.
All right, Palists.
I don't care what you want to call it. You call it what you like, mate.
Right, what do you pronounce it then? Go on, Mr. Smartass.
Oh no. I'm not taking the lead on this one, mate. I'll tell you what. Okay then. So is it Palistis, is it? Or is it Palistis? Palistis, yeah. Anyway, the point is, it's yet another Reaver. Remember you said about escalation? We were talking about a little bit at the weekend, didn't we? Okay then. So as far as I'm concerned, this is probably going to be an escalation. We don't have a slide on comparisons between this and the previous one, but we'll make sure we get something up and running. I'm sure if not, Hefe will have this absolutely out ready for Friday for his show and that sort of stuff, and then we'll have a chat about it in the open mic. So he's all over stats. I'm not so good. I'll wait till Brian turns up. Maybe we'll put him on the spot. But comparing the two, they're not going to put out another UAV, particularly a Reaver, that's not going to be as good, if not better, than the previous one. It is a little heavier and that sort of stuff, but it does do a bit more damage. So there we go. It's another 97 range. What's the other one? Is that also 97? I think that's a bit.
Well, is this higher on building damage in the one as well, the previous one?
Well, I didn't find building damage was the concern on the other one. In some of the areas, it was the ships.
Yeah, the drones and the little. Yeah.
Or is this the new drone? No, it can't be. I was going to say, is it the drone that you want to put on that new freaking Cedar ship thingy? The new
It was the one
super
that
hull.
came out with the other.
Well, the way they're listing it to say that it utilizes chaining You know, maybe it's going to chain a lot better. Maybe it's going to wipe out the island when you just get near a turret. You know.
I think the other one's. It says this one looks like it's more powerful, but it's got less range.
Is the other one the Bandit Hornet?
Yeah, I'll have to look it up because I haven't got the other screen.
It's damage 850, wall damage 1700, building damage 1700, and the range is 98.
What's the reload on it? I don't remember.
Reload is 4.
Yeah, that was the catch on this.
And the reload time on this one here is 8. So so you know you got to do the math, haven't you? And then I'm not going to be doing that, so I'll leave that to Hefe. Because I don't do that sort of stuff.
UAV comparison
I'll
chart.
show you a picture. Okay, I'm good at doing pictures. I put pictures and shiny borders around them. Hefe, over to you, mate.
And since everyone in chat's already saying it, the Ballistus is a type of wasp. It's something that most people call a yellow jacket here in the States, although it really technically isn't. And I think, I don't know if it's the family genus, something like that, or something like Polistini or something. I only learned it because it sounded Greek when I was in school. So
it's slower. It doesn't reach as far, but it's got more of a sting. That sounds
It's
right,
kind of
doesn't
got that. It's got that
interesting
coloration on it as well. It looks kind of like a wasp, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not get hooked up on a picture. I've done my bit. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, sorry, jump on too much. And there, so they've added a little upgrade. So actually, there was a slot spare, I think, on the Skyfires, where this could have gone anyway. I was sort of like dancing around my last special as to what to put on it. So actually, I could take something off and put this on straight away. So that chain count +1 and a weapon weight, which is only really likes 8, is not too bad. I don't think, to be honest. Don't know. What do you think?
I have some ideas for this one, and it involves old tech and old hulls and stuff. So we'll see.
Don't say Drac carriers, mate, because I just recycled those as well.
I won't say Drac carriers then.
Okay. Whatever. Okay, moving on. In fact, that makes sense. That Drac flipping armor. That could have gone the Drac carrier. Drac carrier had a
now you're looking into it too much. Just keep on going.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. That's going to really annoy me now. I've recycled. I'm going to be funny up Kixie and say, "Can I have my ships back?" No, I don't have that. I don't have that ability. All right. Okay. So here's the new missile. Okay. And this is again another piece of the escalation. Okay. The thing I like about this one here is yes, it's got a whopping great amount of damage. It's also very heavy, but 100% accuracy, and it's got that nice 25% chance of critical damage on enemy ships below 50%, and that I think is going to be quite important. I wouldn't maybe put too many of these in ships, in fact, because they're so heavy you can't. And in fact, I think Derp's gone now, but there is a chart. So here we go. Look at that, Hefe. We've got a chart. Okay, without Brian. Okay, it's not my chart, though, I have to say. So, Derp sent this in. Thanks very much, buddy. And so, but I think this is with the critical hit, isn't it? Chance as well on the.
Yeah, that's taken into account. Like when I do my DPS calcs, I generally don't take it into account. But he did put in a 12-something% increase for DPS. Yeah. Take into account because half the time it's going to be hitting something that's 50% or less. Hopefully, I mean,
just that little tiny bit. I'm going to stick with my talons.
Yes, I was just about to say that. See the damage a second. Compare the comparison for the additional weight. You know what I mean? It's just it doesn't seem worth it, especially for the refit time.
The thing I think it would be is because if you're going to kill that freaking Rudolph, once that gets down to half, it sets up that double. It starts really eating off your charge. If you were struggling, this would actually be quite decent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other thing too, like I might not refit it. Like I have to still do my own math on this, but I might not refit it on my talons. But the initial damage for it is rather interesting if you're trying to break certain deflection totals.
Yeah. Mm. Oh yeah. I mean, you can overpower a lot of things, you know, base hitting and prepping and that sort of stuff. You can make a right mess, can't you?
Is the accuracy on the talon 100 as well?
Yeah, I believe so.
But there's no flak evade on the talons, is there, and that sort of stuff. So that's what the issue is. So its accuracy is the same, but there's no flak evade. So not that it really matters in this FM, but in other areas of the game, it does make a huge difference.
See, the one thing I find about using the Phoenixes is when firing at the drones as they're incoming. I mean, a lot of missiles miss. You know, they don't hit the accuracy. I almost contemplated putting laser targeting on at one point. just to try and bring that up. But the next special you're going to show will make sense.
Yes, it will. So this is it here, isn't it? So the advanced optical tracking. You quite like this one, Liam, don't you?
Definitely do, mate. Yeah, I'm going to be putting that straight on the Phoenixes because just the accuracy buff is what I want. I just find that I miss a lot with the ships. You know, I think a lot of missiles are just getting wasted into the sea. So I definitely want to put this on there straight away. They need the accuracy buff. So
I quite like special, I must admit.
The little drones just must have such high evade on them. Do you know what I mean? Those little drones in the targets.
I think they got a shield above them, and you can't actually. You got to break through it first because they just every missile seems to go to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back, and not actually seem to hit the goddamn ship.
Yeah.
And then if that wasn't bad enough, they were healed by the other stuff.
Yeah, freaking things. But there we go. So I can see myself putting this on. I'm not too sure about changing. If you were building from fresh, I'd consider the other missile and that sort of stuff. Yes. And if I've got a bit of weight left over, I can't remember if I have or not. I may put one or two of the other missiles on, just for the sake of doing it. But I'll definitely put this special on. I quite like it. I think it's going to make it. Hopefully, it'll make it easier to kill those drones off.
Mm-hmm. And those drones hurt, man, when they get in close.
Yeah. Don't let them get in close. That's as simple as that, mate. Just keep running away from the darn things. Mm-hmm. I know you're not too good at that because.
What are you trying to say?
That's what your coin count.
I was an expert driver as usual, but the odd one does slip through the net, as they say. So.
Boom. Yes. Okay. So one more.
What? Well, actually, I was going to say on that one. If you go back to this, it's 60%. Like on my build, I'm using guided missile system, so I already have the 61 or 62% accuracy added to it. So I don't. It depends on how you had built your Phoenixes if you're going to want this or not.
Maybe it lets you use it in another combination with something else as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to play around with special. I like doing that. I had to play around my rage specials today, and I
found a nice little
power output. Phenomenal.
Is this going to be available next week?
This is the fourth one. So this is so we've got 2 this week, 2 next week, haven't we? So this should be next week's.
Yeah, that's not a lot of time to refit.
It's not a lot of time.
Give us a chance to build
what's
some
the
rage.
weight on the new one?
So that says weapon weight 19%, doesn't it?
Yeah, same. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm in the game. Yeah, guided is 19 as well. However, you can retro guided for 61% accuracy.
Liam's getting feedback there. But there we go. Right, okay, we're good.
Sorry, am I?
No, it's okay. It's done now. Retargetable. Okay. I'd like to be able to put it on and then try it and then see a comparative, like 2 ships with it, 2 ships without. But we'll see. Right. So let's move on to VXP. There we go. If you haven't been utilizing, obviously, if you don't happen to have a mega hull, and I will reiterate the fact that to get those 5K VXP tokens for Conquerors, you need to have built your mega hull. Okay, at the moment anyway, and then you can go in there and obviously go into where you obviously do the research in the bottom corner, and then it's the 3rd item down if you just want to do generic ones, and then in every 6 hours you can keep recycling it, or you can press build now 12 coins. Do you know what? If you want to rank a ship, if you're sort of the mad coiners that people are, it's far cheaper to go in there. You can rank one ship far cheaper than you can put 3 ranks on a single ship if you go through the other way of doing it. And that's a speed up system in the dock. So
yep,
it's there. Far cheaper.
Something to think about on this one. Think about where you're applying your tokens to. If you've got a flagship that's got way more armor points than your regular ships, use your tokens on the flagship as opposed to using it on the regular ships.
Yeah. And I found it's actually, I did a cost analysis quickly for myself, and it was cheaper to go in there and actually just press coin, the 12 coin, than one of the old flagships that I used with heavy armor on it to actually go and do it in the VXP weekend. It was actually actually more cost effective, and I've got it a week earlier, so I'm having a laugh with them, to be honest.
The one thing I do want to point out, well, 2 things I want to point out is, I had a friend of mine that was doing the raid last week, and I cannot reiterate enough how much rank is actually important when you're dealing with hulls in the raid and the FM. I mean, rank changes the entire fleet. where like he was trying to copy like my driving. He'd watch me, he'd go in and try it, and his stuff was only half ranked, and he couldn't pull off everything that he was watching everyone else do, and he got really, really frustrated. And I was like, dude, if you're gonna ever spend coin, rather than spend the coin during raid, spend the coin on VXP weekend, rank your stuff up. And the second point is they changed it from, you know, VXP day to VXP 36 hours again, which was good. I like that change.
So yeah, so I have been out doing some base testing, okay, with my Rage fleet, just for obviously the benefit of the TFC community. And for a man that doesn't hit bases, my God, I've had a laugh the last 36 hours.
I'm not popping my bubble till you leave.
It was bloody amusing. It has been. This morning I did another, I don't know, a lot. Anyway, yeah, so the Raiders just said in the chat, basically there's a post up on the forums as well about the VXP tokens and that sort of stuff. So GD Skagi has put up this, but he's working on getting this rolled out so that everyone can do this VXP token thing as soon as possible. So let's hope that. I don't know how that's going to get rolled out. I take it's going to be something inside your base or from somewhere else. It's not just going to be a case of obviously, but the easiest mechanic was to put it where they're already generating things, and that was in with the
R&D maybe.
Yeah, maybe R&D. I don't know where it's going to go. Right, so let's see what comes out. Good. Should we move on? I made a sort of promise to myself, and I'm not going to stick with it if I ain't careful. Right, okay, so Legion faction. So the Homeland TLC is back again, okay? So if you haven't seen it all before, I can't see why you haven't, because it's like the third or fourth time it's been through. So we'll just quickly run through these slides. Okay, just remember then, so Tier 6 Conqueror holes can do 5 and 7 if you want to, which will be amusing. Okay, those who've got things, I think it's prides and that sort of stuff, you will dream through this in the Conqueror phase, and it's garrison fleets, which is obviously what we've just done the last raid cycle, so you shouldn't have too many problems. It gets you the Liberator, blah, 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 and a couple of specials. Remember, it's OP9 to compete. Okay, and obviously it's done through your tower just outside your base. When it says, sorry, capacity for Liberators has not changed, okay? And so if you've got them all already, you're just going to get some more build tokens, which is not a bad thing, to be honest.
Yeah, can I mention too, because I've seen a bunch of people start complaining, and I'm not sure if this is true or not because I haven't run it yet, but Tridents apparently don't work in this TLC. And just to remind everybody, this TLC came out before the garrison raids.
It's the old type.
Before this last garrison target, cold snaps were not able to be shot down.
Yeah, I mud glutted mine, to be honest. It was just because I'm lazy.
So, FYI, if you plan on going in there with Tridents, don't.
Hey, here's Brian.
Brian.
Mr. Randick.
We'll give him 5 minutes to sort his life out. So yeah, this is slide 1 then, like I said. So it's OP9, obviously, and it's nothing new. This is the third or the fourth time it's come through. So it's just going to get you some more tokens, if nothing else. Prizes, as you remember, then obviously the first run gets you obviously the SSKP. We know where that goes. It goes on your turrets and that sort of stuff. And yet again, you know, although keep obviously trying to do as best you can for getting rid of your tokens, because we seem to have so many structure tokens at the moment. We're not stocking up any extra space, but we're definitely getting a lot of tokens. Apparently somebody's hitting my base. I know you're not, because I'm bubbled.
I've just seen that.
He's not, because I'm bubbled.
Do you know in Sectorcom's earlier TSN, did you see someone said, I only came here to hit TSN? Did you
That's awesome.
I don't care. It doesn't
I only came here at TSN, but he's in an effing bubble, I think was what he said.
Oh dear. Yeah, and it can sit there till tomorrow morning. I haven't had time to log on the game this evening at all, but there we go. Only when I came over, and then I started doing the slides, and they went on and on. Right, so run 2 gets you the Hyena. If you haven't got that already, go and get it. Okay, it's still fun to play with and that sort of stuff, and you can rank it out and still do some damage on some, even though these newest rage holes, you can actually squeeze through a little bit of damage on them. So, and there you go. You get your first VXP token for your lib as well, and it's a 25k, so it's a good one to have.
This, I was just going to say, like, if you guys can absolutely get that missile right there and start playing with placement in your base, because there's a few things that come up with some of those builds that might help you with the rages.
Yeah, very much so. I've felt the pain of a couple of these really well built ones with some good fire support, and it's interesting.
Yeah,
caught me out. So you know, yeah, interesting. Right. Okay, and then obviously run through 3, which you can do loads of times, up to 5. Obviously, you get a little badge and that sort of stuff. Okay, but the nice thing is obviously you get a 6-day Liberator token. So if you want to refit your libs, smash through this, and obviously you can put some of those new missiles on. And I think that new missile is going to be pretty funky for actually to go on Liberator.
I did actually see someone put in the forums that they smashed through it, the whole TLC yesterday, used the tokens to refit all of the Liberators to Talons.
No.
And now they were on there. They're going, I can't believe you've done this and released this the day after.
Ouch. You always wait. You always wait for the FM.
It was in the forums. The update feedback.
Everybody knows that the FM is going to bring something of interest, and we're in the missile and UAVs, zone now, aren't we? So
we were warned. We were warned of this.
GDA flat out. Yeah, GDA flat out told us that there was going to be another missile special and all that crap.
Escalation is what
Escalation. That's the one I was looking for. Thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
I find it quite funny that he just thought that Kickside deliberately released a TLC at 24 hours before, then everyone's going to go and smash it, in the first day and refit everything. It's just the evil plot of Kickside as usual.
Must have been one of your fans, Liam. Just go out there and just whack it the first day and get done.
Wow,
Okay. And that's just a reminder, basically. The CM notes basically said if you got the Pride, you'd be smashing this out piece of cake. If not, Spite's a pretty good alternative because they've got some pretty good protections against these sort of base holes. But it actually is moving on, to be honest. Other Conqueror holes, which is great. Yeah, and we saw the T6 stuff is there. So just go and smash it with Mudgluts if you've got them because it don't cost you nothing. You don't even have to pop up. It's great. And for the other stuff, Citadels. The old stuff, even actually I found Citadels with a Punisher lead, the old Punisher tank. Worked pretty well, to be honest. Perfect opportunity for a Team 4 monkey hat. Oh, I forgot that this week. I could have put that on, yeah. I forgot. Sorry, my apologies. Wow. All right, okay. I don't know if you can see that, but we'll put the slides up on the page so people can download them if they want to anyway. But they're basically the retrofit. There's a stack of stuff that's gone into the retrofit lab. Some of the stuff, which is very fortunate, because it's already, if you've already done the retro, some of these things will automatically go to R15. And there's some decent stuff there. Some of the stuff is tier 5. Some of the stuff is actually tier 6. Anything out of that list that just goes amazing to you guys, or can you actually read it? It's that small. I couldn't get it all in the page. I probably should have done it on 2 slides, to be honest. But
no, I'm actually happy to see this come in because there was at one point I think they were talking about potentially not doing it. So
narrow firing aperture. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking specifically at that atomic targeting and viscosity regulator. Those are interesting.
It is, yes.
I remember some of the stuff on the list. I remember last year and even early this year asking one of the GDs about it, and he said we've already made it our retrofitted R15 when we released it, so that's why it's not getting put in the lab. But now it's here in the lab. So
well, I mean, we're getting ready for the last quarter is going to have OP10, so
yeah. I like that in the bottom, look, tier 5 corrosive defense panel, penetrative defense panel, the alloy strengthening. That's quite good. And
those are the turret armors then.
Yeah, but penetrative stuff, just with a penetrative missile coming in and corrosive. Yeah, we all want to stop the Prides, don't we? So
when we're not trying to stop the rages, which after about a week, am I too late? Am I too late to do the math on the FM prizes?
I'd like to do the math, please, on the UAV in the background.
UAV comparison chart, Brian.
On the fly.
But isn't it? But it's got no chaining. It's got no chain count. So does that mean it's just 1 and you can add to it?
Well, there's a chain count special +1, isn't there?
Well, yeah, but if it doesn't have that stat, can it not gain that stat, or does it have that stat at a value of 0?
Oh, as you mean,
that's
0 + 1 is 1, isn't it? But
it doesn't have the chain
1
count.
1 times 0 is still 0. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so I'd need to know that. I mean, it's got a lot of damage, and that's great.
But it does. The special does say +1, not times 1.
Yeah, it does say plus. So maybe
I don't
they're
know if there's any kicks in the chat of the YouTube that could maybe clarify. I don't know if
Laredo's in there, but I don't know if he's got that deep.
But if you put missiles don't have splash. So if you put a splash bonus on a missile, it's not going to do anything. And
exactly.
this, this new thing doesn't have a chain count, so I don't actually know how that would function.
That makes two of us.
I'm glad that the I'm glad, but also slightly annoyed that the comm armor is now for everything. I think it should have been for everything initially. But the Manus missile, okay. So it's okay.
Missile, we're happy with. We're content with the math on the missile. It was the UAV particularly that was bugging me.
Missile slightly better. Good from the good chance. Go team.
Good, excellent. Okay, so we were all whinging about that freaking new replacement for the Man of War because the Man of War was so good that we just needed a second version. So Kixley have done a little bit of an advertising splurge, basically. So there is actually a video out now, which is basically also highlighting the fact that glowing nav relays levels 85 will also start dropping. Okay, then some shards for this beast. Okay, the video is definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it already. Okay, and like I said, I'll put these slides up if you want to. I know you can't click on that link there, but if I put the PDF slides up, at least you can sort of like type it in free type. But basically, that's it there. Or if you happen to have the Facebook page for Kixeye himself, it's on there as well. So
can we talk about that video a little bit?
We can do. I just can't show it. That's all.
I don't know about you guys, but I didn't look at that video and think, oh wow, that's really
it's no game changer. It's just another way of doing stuff, and I'm not building it. But that's just me.
I mean, it looked really fun to see those drones hovering about. I mean, that's a really cool thing that we've not seen before.
It looks fun, but I'm just not going to tie up my dock just to go and play, to do something in a different way. And it's just a way of doing something the same as what I'm doing, but in a different way. Does that make sense?
But much more expensively. I mean, you've got to think of the investment to get it in the first place, then to build it and to repair it. I mean, my apprehension is looking at history of these super holes. Is that what we call them?
Yeah, it's the fix time that kills me every time. So.
I mean, the Nemesis is meant to be the Draconian's version, and the Man of War is what Zoe's version, and they're all just a pile of crap. I mean, if Kixeye would actually have updated them and brought them into the standard of the game. Now, I'm not saying that they should go back and do that all the time, but these are meant to be super holes. I mean, we have holes in the game now that have higher armor, higher resistance, and better abilities, and we can build as many as we want of them. And we don't have to collect 250 pieces, and we don't have to repair them in 30 days. So, there
is some interesting things to this. I don't know if has anybody else watched the video at the moment? George, you have, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So it is interesting what it does, and I like the fact that it's actually like drones and it's got then UAVs that you put on, obviously, and it does its own business and that sort of stuff. And they go and do defensive pieces. It's like a protect the mothership type moment, isn't it? It's a bit weird the way they work and that sort of stuff. But I'm still not happy with the fact that it keeps firing out different drones at the different levels that it dies at. And it just doesn't sit comfy, unfortunately. I can just see
if the drones figured out that they were facing a ship with this damage and then it launches those, that would be cool.
Oh, I get that. They mirror,
It's these for the first quarter, these for the next quarter, these for the third quarter. Yeah, so depending on where you're sending the ship and what you're fighting, the drones that you need to kill that ship may already be dead.
Yeah, if it had enough brains in it to auto select, you're right, and send it the correct drone for the correct target. I get that, but yeah.
Well, I mean, and the other thing is too is the drones, if it shoots out 4 of the 4 different combinations, right? The one that doesn't have the right combination is going to die. Each one costs the main hull 25 health to launch. So, you're automatically losing health right away, even though the drones technically don't repair. You still have to repair the hull. And what is it, like a day repair with no armor?
It's a day and a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
A day and a few hours.
So it's going to be
Yeah, exactly. I'm a bit meh at the moment. If it'd been a year and a half ago, then I might go into it. But I've still just like deleted sloths and that sort of stuff. Why? I just haven't had time to build them. We're coming up with OP10, that sort of stuff. There's not going to be any point. I'll stick with no oppressors. I've just deleted my sloths. So there you go. That was a waste of time. I can think of another 6 or 7 holes that I've just deleted and that sort of stuff. So am I going to spend a whole month building this thing? No. We've got a raid format change coming up soon. We've got some other stuff coming out. I don't doubt it. We've got escalation to sort out. I ain't got time for it, so I'm not doing it. But that's just me.
Yeah, same opinion for me. I mean, we get like 4 or 5 holes a month, and it takes me like a month and a half to build one fleet. I mean, how many holes have we seen this year? I've probably built about 3 or 4 fleets this year. We've seen about 50 holes. Have we seen 50 holes? I wouldn't imagine we're. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I bet it's not
It's felt
as
like
bad
it.
of an exaggeration as
It's felt like it, I have to say.
I mean,
To be honest, I mean, I mean, I'm not being funny here, but if you're not into the mega whole thing, this is the one raid cycle, to be honest, Liam, that you could have missed out and not actually worried about it. Apart from the fact you need to go and get, you know, a friendly alliance member to help you go and get the next one for the next raids format, the Scourge one. Sorry, the not freaking Scourge, is it? Skirmish one. And it's not a sub, hopefully, for you, because you're going to be complaining.
Well, you know, I just don't want to show off my sub driving skills again this year.
I don't know.
I don't want all those massive PMs saying, "Oh, how'd you do it? Tell me your secret." You know, it's just too much.
It's the gel.
I've got a social life, guys. You know what I mean? No, I hope it's not a sub driving raid. But then again, you know, if we look at last year, the initial hole was the Hellwraith, and then later they came out with a Tideseeker. And
for you,
but the Tideseeker was absolutely amazing. I mean, I didn't even finish my fleet. I had like four ships. I didn't have the flag, and I did the last one in the cycle with them. And I just sat back and clicked, man, and it was amazing.
They made that Tideseeker after they saw you driving subs, and they were like, "Oh my goodness."
Well, they realised that other people wouldn't be able to drive the same way as me, so they should give people another option.
You know, that is a good point. As much as I love subs, it's
not for
have
everybody.
to become one with your sub, and you have to know how to drive it. Otherwise, it's not worth it. So, you know, I was happy to see them bring something else out for that raid cycle. And if they are doing subs, I would hope they do the same this time. But you know, I enjoy them. I like driving them. I like, you know, timing everything and being perfect. But I know that there were a lot of people that struggled with that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Tideseekers take some skill too. I mean, you have to click the target and then click the next target before the other target dies. Otherwise, you're just losing seconds. So, you know.
Yeah, you got to optimize. You know, you got to do your RTAs, and you got to get your mechanics of targets on point.
Exactly. So
and hold your drink and at the same time.
It's not for the lighthearted. I'll tell you that.
Answer Lucy's questions.
No, if they make a hole similar to the Tideseeker, I would be very, very happy, and I would like to see it come out first. Like I would, you know, like
of course you would.
every you know, like every time they're like, "Oh yeah, here's the monolith, guys. This is going to be the best hole for next raid." And you build monoliths and they're shite, and then icebreakers come out, and you know, and this raid it was the Phoenixes, and I built them, and then the autopilot fleet come out, and I wish I built that. And what I hope to see is that the autopilot fleet comes out first, and I don't have to be forced to build the skill hole to be ready for the next cycle. I can just go straight in and build the auto hole, you know?
Yeah, but the problem with that is the people that do want to drive and do it cheaply and
like
not
me.
point
Yeah, I'd rather have the monolith first.
lose
Don't mention monoliths to him, for God's sake.
Make both available. Yeah, I fucking hate monoliths. So
Hey, man, look.
As
if anyone has
proven by science,
if anyone has anything to complain about monoliths, I got a bone to pick. But I mean, still.
George, I was with the same as you. I refitted mine 3 times. Like I'm so sick of monoliths that I'm almost on the verge of giving up FMs. I just cannot stand even the sight of them. Just the thought of controlling them is enough to make me like want to chuck on my PS4. I just cannot stand them. So
I want them to change the speed mechanic. I really do. Even this late, I would love to see that happen. Come out with a special that's monolith only that changes that.
Just to balance it would be nice. Yeah.
Take away accelerate. Give it the stupid combat speed. Did we already cover my screw up with the chain count?
Yeah. No. With your screw up. No. Go on.
No. I was muttering something about it. The chain count's on the OV, but it's not. The chain count is on the hull. It's never on the weapon. So it's fine. It doesn't matter. I thought because the weapon didn't have chain count, it wouldn't work, but the hull does. So it's fine. Use these. They're amazingly powerful. Oh God, that makes me worried because they said they weren't going to tune the raids to this, but this weapon is...
Oh, come on. It's escalation. Of course they're going to.
Well, they said they wouldn't. And I mean, yeah, we all know it's crap. But this weapon is almost 3 times as strong as the other one. So...
Look forward to the crib when Brian does math. And then rants like hell. In his own sweet way.
You can't say those words on here. They don't let you monetize for that anymore.
Exactly. We're nice and polite on here. Oh dear. Profanity is not permitted. Well, Liam. Yeah, so there we go. Stu. Stu's Stu's in the background.
Take him while he's down.
Oh dear. Right. So we're at the hour. Here cometh the hour. Here cometh the man. Okay then. Welcome back, Liam. Okay, it's good to see you back for a full show.
Great to be back, guys. And
the wig's looking good, I have to say. It took you a few months to grow it, but it's back.
I mean, I may still be committed to work for the open mics, but I'll try and make as many as I can. But the Tuesday shows, I'm back full time. So
good.
So next week you're going to be driving some subs for everybody to watch, right?
So, I think what I'll probably do, guys, for those of you in the chat that weren't with us for the journey last year, I'll probably start doing maybe some sub classes, like 101 subs with Liam into the next raid. So maybe I'll open a hangout and just keep it open to the public, and everyone can just swing in, and I'll show you a few little tricks and maneuvers, maybe some stuff you don't know. So
the quickest way to crash and sink them.
And then we'll copy the video, we'll post it on the page saying how not to drive subs.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just there for the community, and I'll just do what I can to help you guys.
So when the next sub cycle is Scourge, you're going to have a video, and we're going to post your video and tell everyone that it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Do you know, I did actually do a raid video last raid, right?
Yes, you did.
No, but it was a troll video. It was actually it was a joke, and I never bothered posting it because I thought it was a bit too far. But basically, my son was up for the week, and he has red hair, and when it's brushed correctly, he looks a lot like Rick Astley. Right? So it was like a joke Rick Roll video, but I thought it was too much, so I didn't bother. But I should have posted it because it's quite funny.
Child abuse. Right. Anyway, moving on. Right. Good to see you back, buddy. Team, thank you very much. Okay. Quickly, generic, all across the board, raid up or raid down? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Brian? A thumbs down from you for the raid. Okay. George?
I am ambivalent.
Yeah, I am. I must admit myself. I must admit. Liam, what do you think? How did you find your Phoenixes once you ranked it?
You're so cheeky, but
I'm honest, mate. I'm honest.
No. I like the raid. I love this raid compared to last raid. I love the assault format, but I just don't like the time. So for me, I'll just give it a middle one for that, because the time, having to sacrifice that much time to get that many points, it's just too much seat time, especially for people that work full time. It's just too much. So kind of a middle for me.
Robin.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Had a blast in the targets, enjoyed it, enjoyed working with other people on it, but time-wise, I think they need to address that.
I think all they got to do was they could have just took some of the drones out, because the targets didn't seem very big, and I thought compared to the garrison ones, I thought, these aren't so bad. They're not so big as the last ones, and I went, why are they taking so long? It's because of that turning and running and that sort of stuff, and you're like, this is really annoying.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a cluster of ships less per target would be enough.
I'd have even been happy if they'd have dropped the 100 and kept the 103 and did the thing. Not double. That would have been good, double the time for not the same amount, not the same amount of points.
Yeah,
I mean,
frustrating. Yeah,
there's a lot of things they do, like those corrosive clouds. You might not notice it too much, but in the hundreds especially, they significantly affect your driving if you don't want to go through them, and you don't. So you have to go up and around and back around in town.
Isn't it?
Yeah, they're kind of predetermining the way, because you can also, when you attack the target, you always come in the same point as well. So they're kind of predetermining the way in which you have to drive around it.
Yeah.
One thing I would like them to actually look at maybe before the next raid too, like I understand in old raids when other things did damage to the target, you didn't get the points, but where we're actually damaging the drones and they're getting healed by the whatever the hell ship that is, we're actually still doing the damage. I don't know why we're not getting the full point payout, because those actually add up, especially when you're looking to get like 2, 3, 400 million points. 100 grand here and there adds up really quick.
Was it confirmed that that was a level penalty? I heard that it was a level penalty, but I never got confirmation.
Never got confirmation, no.
I've only been able to talk to one guy that was under a level 80, and he was getting full points. But I didn't get to see him hit. I didn't see any of the splash screens. Okay. So I don't know for sure. But like I want to see full points when I get out of those targets.
Okay, right. I'm going to pull the plug. Thanks all for coming into chat. That's great. 125, 126 people. That's fantastic. Good numbers. Look forward to seeing what you have to say on this coming Saturday's open mic. Okay, I'd like to see your feedback, particularly the level lock bit. I'm really intrigued about that. Okay, then. But as ever, balance it. Let's find out what you did like and what you compared to what is also what you didn't like. So, and enjoy the FM. It'll be good.
Yeah.
The XP, FM, everything. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah. Take care.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night.